Hello, guys. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday class on loving kindness here at the Dharma Bum Temple. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you this evening. Is there anyone here at the Dharma Bum Temple for the very first time? Awesome. And did your friend bring you?
Yes.
Nice. Well, welcome. Nice to have you. Is there anyone here? This is just your first time for Wednesday. Awesome. Well, welcome. Wonderful to have you as well. All right. So this is the class on loving kindness. The word that we talk about when we talk about loving kindness isn't really an English translation of the Pali word called metta, M-E-T-T-A. And metta or Pali is the language that we think is pretty close to what the historical Buddha spoke. It's a dialect of Sanskrit. And when, a word from an ancient language gets translated into English, it could actually really mean a lot of things. And it does mean a lot of things. You may have heard loving kindness. It also means like unconditional friendliness, goodwill. And it's just a wish to be happy. A wish for ourselves to be happy, a wish for others to be happy. And really, it's a wish for others, for us and for others to do the things that cause happiness. And so what are the things that cause happiness? Well, our positive thoughts, words, and actions. They cause happiness. And so the motto of the Dharma Bum Temple is think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. And if that whole thing was just the entirety of your practice, you'd be really, really well off. So we're going to do this meditation on loving kindness in this kind of modified way that I do it that I think works best for us as Westerners. And, then afterwards we're going to have like a little question and answer. I'm always interested to know what your experience of meditation is, and so I'll ask about that. And, I encourage you to share, if a particular part of it was more difficult or easier, or you didn't understand something, or you want more clarification on something, this is the right place to ask it. So I'm happy to answer those questions. Or if you just have a question on Buddhism, I can hopefully answer that as well. And so to our online folks, please say hi. So we got Jean. Hi, Jean. Good to see you. I think that's it. All right, awesome. So we talked about what loving kindness is. So I'm going to guide this meditation. We are going to first, and I'll kind of let you know how it goes. We're going to first do this loving kindness for what we call a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness, someone it's really easy to have these feelings for. So all you have to do is think about someone in your life who has been really wonderful and kind to you. And if that's too difficult, that's okay too. If you can just think of like one kind act that someone has done for you, and just think about that. And then we're going to wish this person happiness. And, I'm going to say, just radiate loving kindness to them. And so just go ahead and radiate loving kindness to them, and however you understand that word. And then we're going to take either that same benefactor or a different one, and imagine them doing this practice for us. Or in the same way that we radiate, you're going to imagine them radiating loving kindness to you. Hi, come on in, welcome. And then after that, we're going to do loving kindness for ourselves. And then we're going to do loving kindness for all beings in all directions. So what I'd like to do, I think, since we have a few new people here, is I'd like to read you the Buddha's words on loving kindness. This is from the Metta Sutta or Metta Sutra. Same thing, it's just a teaching. And what I love about this is that these words were written, they were written 2,000 years ago, but they were spoken 2,500 years ago by the Buddha. All right. And this basically describes the totality of the loving kindness practice. It says, "This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened and with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world." Isn't that amazing? So here, the Buddha describes, again, the totality of loving kindness practice. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a seated practice for loving kindness. So everybody just kind of get comfortable. If anybody's legs don't fully reach the ground, what you can do is get a cushion and put your feet on the cushion and rest your feet on there. That's perfectly acceptable. All right. Everybody ready? Anybody have any questions before we start? Awesome. Where is this? It's right here. Y'all doing okay in there? All right. So just allow your eyes to close. Just making sure you have that position that's nice and comfortable for you, nice and sustainable, so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourself as a Buddha sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment. The Buddha had his own tree of enlightenment, which we now call a Bodhi tree. But you can have your own tree of enlightenment. It could be a redwood or a sequoia or oak tree or eucalyptus tree, whatever tree you want. It's up to you. When the historical Buddha went into meditation, he went deep into the woods where he was undistracted so he could just focus on his meditation. So to begin, we'll just get connected to the breath. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Not forcing it, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. The breath is going to be really, really important because even through the instructions that I'm going to be giving in a little bit, you always want to maintain at least 25% of your attention on the breath, which will anchor you to the present moment. The other 75% you can concentrate on loving kindness. Just let my words just kind of wash over you, not holding on to them too much. These instructions should be relatively easy. So at first, as gently as you can, let's just focus gently on the breath. To begin our formal practice of loving kindness, we're going to call to mind our benefactor. And again, a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love and great kindness. Someone it's really easy to have these feelings for. You just think of this person and you smile. And if you can't think of a person, can you think of a kind act that someone did for you, and just think of the person who did that? Calling to mind this person, whomever they are. And again, they can be living, they can be not living. You have a lot of flexibility here. Just call this person to mind. Picture them in your mind. Understand they just have a wish to be happy. And so the only thing that you have to do is radiate loving kindness to them. And however you understand that word radiate, it doesn't matter. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. And now shifting our focus just a little from loving kindness for our benefactor to now again, let's imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And it could be the same benefactor, it could be a different one, it doesn't matter. Again, you still have a lot of flexibility here. And you already have the experience of their loving kindness to you, which is why they're a benefactor. And so can you then receive their loving kindness wholeheartedly with no resistance? And just picture them radiating loving kindness to you, smiling at you, and you can even smile yourself, because smiling really helps in this practice. It helps a lot. Your only job is to really receive all of their loving kindness with no reservation, with no closing off. It sometimes helps to put your hand over your heart, just listening for any resistance that might be there. It's okay if there's resistance. Can you then take a deep breath and breathe into those places that are hard and heavy in your heart, that can't receive all of their loving kindness? Can you breathe some spaciousness and some openness into those, some flexibility into those places? Again, smiling always helps. So for the next few moments, we'll imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. now shifting our attention again to now doing this practice for ourselves. So just call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be free from harm and from danger, to be healthy. And you can do this part of the practice in a couple of different ways. You can just radiate loving kindness back onto yourself, or you can just repeat phrases gently. Phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. You can just repeat one or more of those phrases, or a phrase of your own choosing, so long as it has a loving and kind intention. You can put your hand over your heart still. You can still smile. Smiling always helps. So for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for ourselves. And finally, the last part of our meditation is, can we now explore the limitless quality of the heart and do this practice for all beings in all directions, no matter, like it says in the sutra, no matter what beings there may be, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, no seen and unseen, born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. The heart does have this limitless quality, and so what I'd like you to do is just to radiate loving kindness, just go as far out as you can. So we'll do this to end our meditation. just open your eyes when you're ready. Just stretch your arms and your legs as much as you can. Get that circulation back. I do still occasionally lose circulation just like I did in my legs. I can't even feel this one. And just keep that mindfulness of loving kindness about you, and then we'll begin in about a minute. How you folks doing in the computer? Are you guys good? Good. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll read those too. One of the things that I enjoy about continued practice, and I always notice and I'm always really happy about, is that whenever I feel stressed or anxious or whatever, if some sort of negative emotion, whatever it might be, when I meditate. And I do a loving kindness meditation, whether I'm doing it here in front of you guys and in front of you guys, or whether I'm doing it at home, is just how naturally loving kindness for myself just becomes the default. And I know for some it's really difficult, and I certainly understand that, but I've been doing this for a little while, and I'm just so incredibly grateful for things that I notice about my practice. And I think it's really important to notice these things, and to notice that, hey, I started meditating or reading the Dharma 6 months ago or a year ago or two, whatever that time frame is, and just kind of take stock about what is your perspective now versus what was your perspective back then. And whenever I notice that loving kindness becomes the default, I just get just really, really grateful. And I didn't even have any reason necessarily to be super stressed out. I wasn't stressed out at work. It was just, I live up North County, and so I got started a little bit late, and I just barely got here at like 6:55. Just a lot of traffic on the freeways for some reason, but that's okay. So that was our meditation on loving kindness. It's one of my favorites. I really enjoy it, and I hope you did too. And so. Oh, Marissa's just saying hi. All right. So again, I'm always interested to know what your experience of meditation is. If you have any questions on the instructions or on Buddhism, or if there's anything that you'd like to share. And so a lot of times I'll just start, which I just did. And so you can just either tell me that or just tell me what's going on with you. I'd love to hear that. Anybody want to share anything?
I'll say I haven't meditated in a long time, and it was really enjoyable. It was really relaxing. I had kind of a couple stressful things happen today, and they kind of melted away. So
yeah,
it worked. It helped.
Awesome. Yeah. Some people just get here late. Like I got here almost. The instructor, I almost got here late. So yeah, it's amazing when you're stressed out or whatever, and you just kind of give yourself permission just to sit down. You give yourself permission to relax. you give yourself the permission just to not think about something, which you can always do. And that's the wonderful thing about this practice, is that you have permission. You always have permission. You always have the option to not suffer and to do the thing that caused you to not suffer. And I think a lot of times we forget that. I know Jeff, a lot of times on his Facebook posts, the only thing he says is stop whatever you're doing and take 3 deep breaths and just breathe. And they're wonderful reminders that we can do this at any time. We can practice loving kindness at any time. We can experience that well-being in our heart anytime we want to. Did you have something or no?
No. I really kind of went deep.
Yeah.
I felt like I just went deep, and it's like, and I think sometimes it's hard to basically focus on what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I'm just kind of in the space. You know, so but it's like I'm trying to.
So did you, when you were in this place there, you said you were just kind of, it was hard to focus on what I was saying because you just felt like more at peace and you were just loving that?
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of just, it's hard, it's like I'm just kind of in a meditative state.
Right.
So it's like I'm not, it's hard to basically follow directions.
Because you're just enjoying the state that you were in. Yeah. That makes sense. Yes, go ahead.
Sometimes it's like you feel like you're gonna fall asleep. What do you do?
So that's a really good question. So I'll regale you with my brief story after I give you an answer really quickly. And so that's really, really normal. Because so often, if you think about it, how often do we really give ourselves permission to relax and give ourselves permission to just be? Without the phone, without a book, without the TV, without anything else. It's not very often. And a lot of times when we come to a place like this and you don't have your phone out and you're not watching TV and the only thing that you have is just your breath and you listening to me, and you're not really distracted. It's like your mind just says, oh, thank God. Right? I have permission to do this. Oh my God, this is so good. Yeah. And that's the thing that can be yours all the time. And so a lot of times your mind has been just kind of overloaded. So when you give yourself that permission, it's like, I just want to go to sleep. I feel it's good. I can't believe I don't do this all the time. And so, yeah, that's really, really normal. And so the solution to that, because although that's wonderful, it's not really mindful, is just to take some really deep breaths, or you can even get up from your seat and just stretch. And if you need to go walk around a little bit for a couple of minutes, you can even do that, and everybody can do that. If you just need to get up and stretch, like even if it's in the middle of the meditation, so what? You're falling asleep and you don't want to fall asleep. And so my favorite story that I've told many times, but it's been a while, so hopefully this will be new to some people. One of my early teachers, Jack Corfield, he had the same problem. He was a monk. He ordained as a monk in Thailand, which at the time was kind of unusual for a Westerner. And this is back in the 60s, I think it was late 60s. And he went to his teacher, Ajahn Chah, and he said, I'm just sleepy all the time. I sit to meditate and I just want to go to sleep. I am so sleepy. What should I do? And he goes, okay. You see that well over there? Sit on the edge of that well and meditate. So he goes, okay. And so the next time he meditated, he went over by the well and he sat on the edge of the well and he started meditating and he got a little sleepy. And he just started, and he just kind of scared the living daylights out of himself because he almost fell in the well because he was so sleepy. Yeah, he didn't do that again. So that's a fun story that he tells. That I'm just retelling. But yeah. So yeah, but of course you don't need to do anything that extreme. Just breathe deeply, get up and stretch. It's okay. Like if you're in the middle of a meditation at home and you're just feeling sleepy or you're just feeling just kind of discombobulated and just kind of unfocused, it's perfectly acceptable just to either uncross your legs and just kind of stretch a little bit. Take a deep breath, take a few deep breaths. And get recentered again and just sit back down. You don't have to stop the clock. Let the clock go. I mean, I always have a timer with me, so you don't have to stop that. And just start again. There's no shame in that. It's perfectly acceptable. That's what, again, another thing I love about this practice. It's always okay just to start again. No one's shaming you. There's nothing wrong about getting up or doing all those things. You're not a bad meditator because of it. You're probably a better meditator because of it, because you're recognizing, hey, I have this limitation right now. I'm mindful enough to understand that I can't do this right now and I need to do something else to wake me up and to get me focused. And it might only take a couple of minutes, but I can do it. I'm going to take the time to do it now. It's just a wonderful way. It's just a wonderful way to practice a lot of self-care. Because a lot of times we don't think we can do that because we watch everyone, especially like when we're in the middle of a group like this, we see everyone else is perfectly quiet. Why can't I be perfectly quiet? But no, that's fine. You don't know what they're thinking. They might be just as unfocused as you. My goodness. So, was there any part of the meditation that was particularly easy or enjoyable for you? Like that maybe you weren't necessarily expecting, but it was just kind of nice.
I had never thought of somebody doing metta for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually thought of my father, who is dead.
Yeah.
And it was really lovely, because I know he loves me, but I was seeing myself through my imagination of his eyes.
Yeah.
It was really a great 4 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, and I'm glad that I actually am able to incorporate that, because a lot of people, some people really like it, and some people it's not that they don't like it, but it's so strange for them because they've never done that before. And they may even have done loving kindness before many times, but they've never received that particular instruction. And so the reason I do that is because to help you understand that people love you and that they love you for a reason, for a really, really good reason. And so if you can understand that, wouldn't that make it then easier to have loving kindness for yourself? All these, I mean, you think about your parents, especially if you have a good relationship with your parents, like you have with your father, the time that they've spent to raise you, all of that, those years and years of loving care. If you've had that kind of a relationship, that's like, so many years just to kind of think about and reflect on. Yeah, so she had something.
The tree part just took me to a particular sequoia up in my campground that I like to go to that I hadn't thought about in a long time, so.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that too. And I forget. Maybe I just made that up. No, I don't think I made that up. I don't think I've made anything up, to be perfectly honest. But I like that idea because the Buddha was really big on that. The Buddha was really big on like as if to create these positive mind states. Because that's, part of the Eightfold Path is right effort, and to think about why can't you be a Buddha? Why can't you imagine yourself as a Buddha sitting underneath like whatever tree of enlightenment you want? And a lot of times people will think about, I go right to sequoias and redwoods just because they're just majestic and beautiful and wonderful, So he went there too. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And so was there any part of the meditation that was a little more challenging?
Trying to focus on bringing that back to myself, because I can really visualize the person that I was using, which was my daughter, but it was hard for me to visualize her giving that, love and kindness back to me. I don't know why, because we're very loving and kind towards each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we're very close, but it was hard for me to send it back to myself.
Oh, imagine her doing it for you.
Yes.
Yeah. And isn't it amazing how it's easy for one person but difficult for another, right? And it's just, it's just how what your perspective is on that. And, plus it's not often done. This is not a usual kind of instruction, but this is why we do it. Like what I just kind of talked about, and if you think about it, hopefully, you can think about, well, why was this so difficult? And just kind of, think about I don't know what the answer is, but you just kind of think about that and have that difficulty be okay. Like, oh, it was difficult. Isn't that interesting? Oh, okay, cool. It was difficult. Great. All right. Thanks. And maybe there's a lesson in that.
I just wanted to agree that I actually kind of realized that was difficult for me, and so it helped me to visualize acts that I thought of my fiance, acts that he does that are so nice, but then it was hard.
Wait, did you say your fiance?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said Beyonce. Okay, never mind. I'm so sorry.
We were really close.
Like Beyonce, like, nice. Your fiance, got it.
Yes, and he does very nice acts to me. But I think one of the reasons it's hard to visualize his actual love is because sometimes I feel like he really just loves me as I am, and something he'll compliment me the most when I had no makeup on, I just woke up or something like that. And he compliments me in very weird times too. Just last night, after work, wearing a work uniform, walking in the grocery store. He just said, I just love the way you just walk in to the store. And I think that it's hard for me to accept that unconditional love. It's tough to give it to myself and just understand that he loves me as I am, not through acts, just being. So I think that's something that I need to reflect on and take into account.
Yeah. And also, isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm. Very.
That it's like, well, my fiance, it appears that he just loves me for who I am because he says it, looks like he shows it. I don't think he's lying. then what's this kind of barrier to entry for accepting this? You know, what is this? You know, right? Right?
Yes.
And this is kind of why we do this before we do the part about loving kindness for ourselves. You know, I'm trying to, the first two stages of doing it for your benefactor and your benefactor doing it for you are meant to try to kind of tenderize your heart. You know, and if you think about it, how do you tenderize like a steak? Sometimes kind of is to make it a little more tender. Now, don't do that literally to you, but sometimes that's what it takes. It hurts. Sometimes that tenderization hurts a little bit because it brings forth a lot of this kind of self denigration that we have that is usually just unmet with anything. Because we're distracted about doing other things and whatever, it's rarely looked at, and so now we're just kind of forced to look at this like, oh my God, look at all this going on, and it's wonderful to actually be able to work through this with the understanding that this is okay. This is just part of the practice, and I'll get there. Oh, wonderful, guys. Anybody else before we end real quick? No? Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming. Thanks, online folks. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. May the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings in all directions. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. And may all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here with me and for sharing in this practice. I really, really appreciate it. Much love to you all. And we will see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye, guys. Bye, awesome folks. Online.